As a person, I am a health coach, and I work with both experts and individuals, experts to help them with their personal branding, mentoring them into how they could improve themselves, their social presence, and eventually grow their businesses. On a personal level, I work with people like you and me who needs help on any area of their life using mental and nutritional modalities or coaching, and including mental health as well modalities, so that I could improve people's lives. So as an individual, ever since I started back 3 years ago, I realized I was able to impact a number of people with the talks I've done, the webinars, the podcast that I created, my line of work. And eventually I wanted to expand. I wanted to be able to reach to more people, but eventually me, and just like you guys, we are very limited with time and resources. You cannot be in more than one place at the same time. So eventually, for me to be able to expand my services and be able to have a larger impact on people, what I did is I realized working with other coaches helps me put hand in hand, creating programs, creating materials that could eventually expand our reach. So that realizing that, I realized that there's a gap in the market where there wasn't a platform that brings all these experts together for them to work together to have that impact on people. So I created the Nourishers. The Nourishers is a directory of lifestyle and well-being experts ready to support you. So all you need to do is go to the website, and eventually you'll be able to find people like me and other coaches and experts from different fields. We classify them into almost 11 or 12 experts in different segments, so that you don't only get health as they generally define it, which is exercising and food, but we have mental health experts, we have physiotherapists, psychotherapists, we have healers, practitioners, counselors, parenting advisors, and more when it comes to the categories that we have, because we believe that health revolves around all of this together and not limited to the main two aspects that I said. So no further ado, this is exactly what we do right now, and eventually we're trying to impact the world with the work we do. So that's in a nutshell what I do on a personal level and as an entrepreneur. The session is going to be called Using Social Media for Marketing Your Startup. How to use social media and effectively for your startup. As you know, social media has become a very important and crucial part of our day. None of you could go by the day without checking their social media. So in a nutshell, the profile you have is your personal brand. If you like it or not, you are considered a brand right now. As long as you have a page that has your name and your picture, this is the initial step, or let's say the initial moment that you have created a brand for yourself. And eventually you share your likes, you share everything that reflects you as a person, your personalities on the social media platform, where people like, comment, and eventually interact with you. So eventually you share your interest and people like that interest. So this is also reflects on your business. Once you create a platform, I mean, you choose the platform that you want and create that page for your business, this is the main purpose behind it. It's for you to share what service, product, and purpose that your business stands with it, for people to react to it, comment, like, share, because they are able to relate to these services, because they like it, because they want to be part of the brand, because it relates to their values, it relates to their interest, and that's why people start following you and they want to learn more and more about your business. So what are we going to cover in this presentation? First of all, we're going to talk about the value of social media for small businesses, setting social goals for your small businesses, social media tips for small businesses. In a nutshell, I just wrote here small businesses, but eventually this actually works for personal branding, startups, medium and large businesses as well. As I mentioned, if you are a photographer, content creator, you're a writer, you are considered as a business yourself. So this is where you fall under the personal branding. So also the information that I might share here might come in handy. So as a start, the value of social media for businesses. As a startup, I'm sure everyone could relate to this, to the message I wrote, which is every entrepreneur or business owner is a one-man show or a one-man army. You do the branding, you're the admin, you are the marketeer, you're the salesperson, you're the accountant, content creator, sometimes videographer, customer service, and eventually you run the whole show. As a business owner, I'm sure this is something that you need to take care of as a start, but more or less, we have to understand that we can't manage everything. We cannot do everything on our own. And eventually, like we as human beings have a 100% capacity of focus, where if we divert these focus, we're putting 10%, 20%, 30% in different areas. And this is why sometimes we don't excel or grow, because we actually scatter our focus and we're not being able to utilize our focus 100%. And that's why we come in short. So regarding to the value when it comes to putting into your business and trying to reflect it, this is where I want you or anyone that you know of that could reflect that part of your business 100%. Now, social media is your window to the world. So it's very crucial to have someone dedicated to reflect that on your behalf, or if you have the time to dedicate a day or two to focus on your social media, because this is very important to be able to show the value that your business that will have on people's lives. So it's really, really crucial to have the right people helping you in doing this and not only focusing on other areas where you will come short. Social media has helped me on a personal level as well to be able to work with people from Bahrain and different parts of the world. I've been able from Bahrain as well, working with companies and giving corporate wellness programs, utilizing social media because they've seen my content, they've seen the things that I actually post and they're related to it, where they contacted me via email and they were able to have me as a guest speaker, same way like I am here with you guys now. And eventually, because I was able to communicate and reflect what I do, they were able to reach me out. And this is why it's very important to reflect what you do, like very clearly on your social media pages, so that people will be able to actually reach you out and benefit from your services. This is where people mostly make mistakes, or actually usually they don't pay so much attention, which is setting goals for their business. As I mentioned, don't shoot blank bullets. Just throwing darts just randomly, trying to reach to your target audience and trying to find who's going to buy your products or work with you is not just a random thing. You need to strategize it. You need to be able to find what people like. First of all, let me start off with saying the statement. When setting up your business, start off with, I'm sure that you do, but start with asking these main questions. Do I believe it? Do I live it? Do I believe others should live it as well? These three main questions would actually identify to you, like, why did you start? And eventually, since you started, are you going to use it? And eventually, if you're going to use it, do you believe others might need it as well? This is one of the main strategies behind your business. So let's say, for instance, my business right now is all about health and well-being. As I started, it was first about nutrition And eventually, at like if you go like a few years back, people were so big on nutrition and being on strict diets and whatnot. So at that particular time, I was only focusing on nutrition. And I knew how it's really important because I was obese. I got to a point where I started taking care of myself. I lost the weight. And eventually, I've seen the impact it had on me personally and how it made me feel. So that is what I wanted to reflect on people. And step by step, I was able to help others lose the weight, feel good about themselves, look good, and eventually live a happier lifestyle. So, with that being said, I started noticing the difference in, phase by phase. And eventually I realized right now, even not only nutrition is important, but physical activities and especially mental health. So if you notice right now on my page, I focus so much on mental health right now, and I incorporate that even in my practice. So in a nutshell, what I realized that nutrition is only one part of the equation. Yet what I did is I certified myself as a life coach, as a health coach, and eventually I have a couple of other certification in mental health so that I incorporate all this together to give a more holistic approach. With that being said, I've realized a lot of people had an underlining that they didn't know how to define. So every time I work with people, I kind of can understand where they come from, and with it I give them what they need, because I believe this is exactly something that they miss or they don't understand, which is why I can help them identify their challenges and heal them forever, like heal them on a long term, instead of just giving them a bandage that they stick upon the so-called surface injury that they have, which might they're related to, I just want to lose weight, or I want to fit in just a dress, or I just want to go and on this vacation, that's why I want to lose weight. So these are what they understand, but at the end of the day, there's a deeper lining, there's a deeper understanding to what they might go through, and this is where I come in. And eventually that is value. This is giving people something they really need that would help them sustain their health and well-being for a longer period of time. So I answer, do I believe it? Yes. Do I live it? Definitely. Do I believe others should live it? Definitely. And this is what I do. And this became one of the main values behind every single thing that I do. And you should too as well. There are statistics in regarding to when you set your goals for your company. So first of all, you'll start off with identifying the services and products and goods that you want to sell regarding your business. And with it, you would choose the social media channels that you can use to reach to your target audience. And with it, once you identify your target audience, this is where you start creating the content that is relevant to your business. This is where you strategize. You don't do it just blankly and try your luck, thinking that this might work or not. So the minute you identify what is it that you want to serve the world, utilizing this three questions that I said, then you'll be like, okay, how could I reach my target audience? Which social media channel which would be right for me? And eventually you would start using it to actually put your content and reach to people utilizing it. Some people are more expressive in writing, some people are more expressive in talking, some people are good with photography, and there's social media for like social media channel for each way that you express. So saying that, is it right that you have presence on all social media platforms? I would say yes, but see your strongest feature. If you're sorry, if you're stronger in writing, then blogs is the right thing for you. Then you could actually have your website, write your blogs associated with an SEO, search engine optimization, and with it you use the correct key phrases that people would might use on any search engine, and this is where you're going to pop up, and this would let people reach you easily. So this is when it comes to writing. When it comes to photography, Instagram is big on pictures. So then Instagram is the place for you. When it comes to videos, YouTube, Instagram is moving mostly into videos, and based on the recent algorithm changes and reports that came out, they're all shifting into video content. So the more you invest from now into video creating, this will be really beneficial for you as well. Again, when it comes to videos, you have TikTok, but the difference between, let's say, the main three platforms, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram right now, TikTok is a wave, let's say, just it brings definite wave of views. So are you able to sell on TikTok? They're actually moving into a monetization phase. But eventually, if you want traffic, TikTok is the place. So you connect your TikTok to your business account, and eventually you could like have a wave of people coming in that will check out your content on TikTok, and then you convert them into whatever platform you have by putting your link or Instagram account, and eventually they'll come and see different kind of services and products that you have, and with it there's a call to action that would help people buy your product or get your services. YouTube, on the other hand, is one of the godfathers of all platforms right now. It's been growing, it's been utilizing anything that might come in. They have the shorts right now, which is equivalent to TikTok, and you could actually monetize that, and eventually your main videos could be monetized as well. So if you think about it, it's a place where you'll just create your content, put it out there, and eventually in the long term, it could be a really good place where you could make good money out of it by the views and clicks and advertisements that you have. Regarding to all these matters that I spoke about, there's a study that has been done in 2017 that actually tells you what people like, and eventually that would help their behaviors in purchasing your goods or services. The number one was being responsive. I'm sure you guys have been irritated by contacting business pages and nobody answers you, trying to call a service provider and nobody answers you. So it shows that just being responsive and being able to reply back faster to people, that guarantees you 48% purchase or buy-in into your products and services. Then offering promotions. This is a double-edged sword, I would say. Usually people don't like when you overdo it, but if you find a way that you do it just enough, people enjoy it and will always try to follow you to find out what is it that you have, and eventually they'll start actually interacting with you to get more from the benefit of these promotions. Providing educational content that relates to maybe my page, where I put anything that's related to health and well-being. This is considered as educational. Sharing interesting visuals, anything to do with videographers, anyone that's good with effects and landscapes and whatnot. This is something that would be relevant. So, okay, 46 for offering the promotion, 42% for the educational. Sharing interesting visuals, the photography and everything that I mentioned, that's 38. Being funny is 36. Offering exclusive content and exclusivity, usually this is where people use YouTube or Patreon, which is a subscription-based content where you only would tap into exclusive content. Let's say if you subscribe to my private channel, then you would have hands-on to specific content that you would exclusively get. That is about 35%. providing behind the scenes content, something that not a lot of people might have access to, that's 27%, and trash talking other companies or people at 10%. So as you see, there are a couple of ways that you could utilize social media for your advantage once you identify a target audience and be able to tap into them and eventually, communicate, connect with them, and realize what is it that they want for you to be able to sell your product and services utilizing some of the things that I spoke about. Question, how many people should be there for a small business in the beginning? Again, the minute you understand yourself, you will start on knowing your strengths. And once you identify your strengths, it will help you understand how could you add to this business that you're starting up. So eventually every business has departments and has areas that need someone that is skillful to handle this part of the job. So more or less, if you could find someone that has the same vision, has the same interest in your business, and they're willing to come hand in hand with you, where you could share equity or you could hire them, then it's a plus. This is where you might find people that would support you because they share the same vision. But if you don't find these people, then eventually maybe you might start off with having interns, or you have someone that might come in for half equity, half salary. All these matter. There's a couple of ways that you could actually get in people's interest to work with you and eventually reach your goals together. But it depends on how many, and it depends on their interest and how would you be able to get them on board. And based on the second part of the question, how many, the more the merrier. But it depends on how much you could control, because as a start, you're taking a step-by-step approach to building your business. So the more you have people, the more opinions that might come in that might distract you as a business owner from the actual goal. So having 2 to 3 people as a start would be very beneficial for you to actually start your business journey. Now, this is the most important slide here. Social media tips for small businesses. Based on what I said, it creates the idea behind why do you use social media and what is the purpose behind it. But eventually, this is where the fun starts. So this is the main 3 elements that you could use to help you create the content, to use the social media effectively and efficiently to your purpose. So as you see here, think, then collect, create, then correct, then connect. Think, then collect. What I mean by that is when you start, as I mentioned earlier, you don't do anything just randomly. You would create the content by thinking, okay, is this something that I mentioned earlier? Do you believe it? Do you live it? Do you actually believe that other people should use it or live it? Based on that, you might be able to actually create content that would touch people emotionally, which is the best way to attract people when you use psychological marketing approaches, where you touch on people's pain points or pain points. These are the 2 main factors that would help you if you do your due diligence to learning how could you use the proper approach regarding to your product or service that would help people buy into your products. And this, let me explain it in a nutshell. Let's say in my line of work right now, mental health is being very big because lockdown, then things are opening up, then again lockdown, and then then again it opens up. Eventually people start fear going out because the on and off kind of thing shows that things are still not okay. So even when you leave the house, you feel anxious if you might encounter someone that might be affected with COVID. you might touch something, you might go to somewhere that maybe they forgot to clean or whatnot. So this builds anxiety and eventually more anxious, stressed, and eventually that might affect their mental well-being, which might affect their sleep, they might affect their performance, and it goes on. So in my case right now, what I could do, I could utilize my platform where we could educate people on how to take care of themselves against COVID. So we could create material or content in that aspect. We could talk about anxiety and how could you manage those things, your anxiety. We could create things in regarding to personal hygiene, where you kind of use your own sanitizers and whatnot, so that you be able to protect yourself and take the extra measures to take better care of yourself. So I'm touching on two main subjects that people worry about, and this becomes a paying point for people to buy in our content, our material, or just work with the experts that we have. So research based on your business target audience. This is exactly what I explained right now. And this is what you should as well do, utilizing the information that you have. And eventually this would help you create content directly, specifically for your audience. Create, then correct. Don't wait until everything is perfect to start. This is one of the most common mistakes people do. Let me gather as much content as I can, and then only I'll start. Let me start with finding the right people to create my content and material before I do anything. I want it to be perfect so that I'll be able to share everything on my social media, because I want it to be much organized. Then only people will buy. It doesn't work this way. You will waste so much time, because what you need to do, it's all about trials and errors. This minute you start working into putting all these matters together, this is where you see what people like and they don't like. You'll see that out of maybe 10 contents you put on your social platform, one or two gets a lot of traction, and others that you kind of put so much effort into it doesn't get the expected feedback that you actually realized. So more or less, this is a very, very crucial step where you need to push yourself out there. You put as much as you can, and step by step you progress. So how to actually put it in a simple form: start with something organized, get the feedback, get to see what people like and I don't like, and keep on improving on it. So eventually create, correct, and again, release other content based on the feedback and knowledge that you got to improve your content. And then connect based on your customer feedback, repeat what works, and constantly focus on that. And this is also another mistake that I realized why people do is they put out content, they see something that works, and eventually they start keep on putting content instead of focusing on the things that actually work, where people can get to interact with that content, connect, because they're able to relate to that content. They start just again sharing random stuff that is not related to what you actually put from the start, which is the main purpose behind your page. So eventually this is really important. The minute you get to see out of, let's say now because we put a lot of content, out of 50, if you've seen at least a pattern that works, follow that pattern. Ask your customers. At the end of the day, you start a business not for you, it's to serve others. It's to serve the customers and your audience. So eventually the content has to be relevant to them. You're sharing a message, there is something that is related to your purpose, but this purpose is meant to serve them. And once you serve them, add value to your customers, this is when the money comes in. So don't be focused on how can I make money and how could I make people buy. People buy eventually something that they emotionally get attached to, something that serves them, adds value to them, and something that will touch upon their pain points and their pain points. And this is one of the main things I wanted to say. And regarding like right now, if you do all this, there's another study that has been done, and regarding why do people unfollow you when it comes to your social media platform. As I mentioned, if you shoot empty bullets, trying to put as much content, you keep on trying and trying and trying, then people might get fed up, or maybe there's a couple of reasons that people will lose interest, and these are the main these are the main things that make people actually follow you. One is too many promotions. Remember earlier I told you you could utilize that for your advantage, but too many promotions will let people actually unfollow you. Then next comes in information not relevant to your business, which is also one of the main things I mentioned earlier. You keep on losing track by not focusing on what works, and you're just putting different kind of material, thinking that it might work. Eventually, people would lose interest and unfollow you. If you're posting a lot, eventually, right now, if you open up your Instagram, you're following a lot of people. And if the same company shows up on your stories and shows up on your feed, and they're doing promotions and they're doing paid ads, eventually you'll be like just like irritated by how many times this page might show up. So what you do straight away, just to unblock them, or just to stop seeing them, you just unfollow them. And I think this happens a lot even with the email marketing. When you get a lot of email from someone, straight away you just go and hit the subscribe button, just because it's becoming annoying. Then we have using slang or languages that maybe you don't understand. So this might be something that also gets people to unfollow you. Being too quiet, and I would touch upon being too quiet. So after being too quiet, then we have last, which is don't reply back to customers. Remember when I mentioned earlier, one of the main things that makes people buy your stuff and work with you and like working with you is because you reply back to them. So eventually we have here, people have, I would say, tolerance to how much you might ignore them. So this is very crucial for you to make sure that you pay attention to it. And then comes the being quiet. Being quiet is okay. Being too quiet is not. So let's say right now, if your business page in any social media form chooses one day where you put all your effort into creating one content that you put once a week in the same specific time, try to follow that constantly. It's all about consistency, because it doesn't matter if you post every single day or you post 1 or 3 times a week. It comes down to you and how consistent you could be. Start with something. Start with the minimum thing that you can, but select a time and day and try to be as active as possible by the guidance that, or let's say the time that you set for yourself. This is very crucial because the algorithm will work to your advantage if you're constant, and eventually the social media platforms will push your content. But if you start posting randomly different days, like sometimes you just post whenever you feel like it, this is where basically the algorithm might not work to your advantage, and eventually it will affect you and kill your content, and you'll get less views, less interactions, and eventually it's time wasted and effort wasted. So this is one of the most important things you should do. Find something that you're really constant at and eventually build upon it. This is the best advice I could give you guys. If you're gonna start at least 3 times a week by posting once a day, then choose the days, choose the timings, and eventually put the content that you want on these specific times and days. How many customers should be there to say this product or promotion is working? Because eventually, even if you put it on your social media pages, I might like it, I might know someone that likes it, and eventually I would share that content or that page to someone I know. So eventually, even the numbers that might show onto on your page, the shares, the likes and comments and stuff. Maybe some people just, like will keep it, save it until whenever they need it. This is something that I'm sure all of you have. If I go to your social media pages right now, social or Instagram being specific, you guys have so much stuff that you saved, thinking that you might need someday, which just overloads your saved content and you never use it as well. So eventually, I can't give you specifically, but if you do a promotion today and eventually you know that your sales is X amount on at least on an average, this is without promotion. And with the promotion, it at least adds up to 5, 10%, 15%. The growth that you do that reflects above the average that you actually do, then that's a plus. So eventually this turns the money that you paid. A lot of people just do paid ads, which is not targeted to specific customers. And eventually they don't put a proper call to action. So eventually it's just content seen. So imagine like right now, I'm talking to you, this is a paid ad. Guys, I have this amazing program that could change your life and it would help you live a life that you dream of. And that's it. That's where I stop. Like you guys be like, okay, and then what? Would you go and buy what I said? Like I didn't give you like where could you find it, what you need to do. And this is where most people do this mistake. But if I be like, okay, guys, I know you might be going through a rough time right now. And eventually for you to be able to get over this feeling that you're feeling right now of anxiety, stress, and anger maybe that you might have inside of you, come work with me right now. Go to the link in my bio, book your 15 minutes free session right now to be able to help you get over what you're going through. As simple as that. Eventually, I touched upon a pain point that you're going through. I use psychology, which is something that is very relevant to you right now. I told you where to go, which is the link on my bio. I gave you something that give you some sort of reassurance that it's free, and eventually you don't need to pay anything right now. And eventually, I gave you a call to action: do it right now. So these are some of the tips that if you use, it would reflect positively on the matters that you want to sell. So I encourage you guys to use this kind of methods and approach to help you sell in a better way and save on the promo ads that you just maybe just gets you more likes or more views. And by the way, whatever I said right now is relevant. If you go to my page right now, I have a 15-minute free session where actually I just define what is it you're going through, and if I am the right coach for you. See, like I don't let people buy my services just like that. I consult with them, make sure that they have something valuable for them to work with me, and that's the only reason why I choose my clients very wisely, because I want to have an impact on your life. And I just don't want random people just working with me and eventually I might not be the right person for them. Insta versus TikTok, who wins? Again, Instagram is being big. Instagram has established itself to be a very good monetizing platform where you could use it for your business, have a lot of call to action. It could help you. It could help you actually to put your contact details, location, emails, and people like right now became anything. If I would ask you, look up something, a place or a shop or a business owner or whatnot, straight away you'll go to Instagram. So Instagram is a good place to identify that you exist. But when it comes to TikTok, TikTok is more just to drive more people to your other channels. So it's literally right now, you could utilize it for your advantage to get as much traction as you can. Traction, and what I mean by traction, by having a lot of views, a lot of people to see what you could offer and drive them to your Instagram page. Do people feel that following very formal business accounts is boring? If yes, what should the account owner do? would you follow a page that, for instance, an embassy, just for the sake of argument, would you follow an embassy? And eventually, I think the only reason that you might follow an embassy's account or a government's account, it's only if you're interested in that specific field. But if you go to another official Instagram account, let's say Ministry of Youth and Sports, they cover up a lot of their activities. They're very active. They share programs that might be relevant to a lot of people at your age, my age, and eventually they give back so much to the community, so they don't specifically talk about what they do, but they try to add value to the community and support people like us, people that are innovative. They're trying to improve themselves. So this would be a way that an official business account could also add value to people, even if it's slightly irrelevant to their business activities. But eventually you could utilize to show the community that you care and you're supportive. SIM ads or Google ads, which is better? I kind of use Instagram ads for my personal work, and I use Google ads for my entrepreneurship. I mean, my business the website basically, because it's easier for people to write. If you go on to any kind of searches, um, I could find the keywords that I need, and it turns out like health and well-being is one of the most searched the keywords on Google and any search engine. That's why I utilize it, so that we pop up on the search engine, and that's why it's very useful for my business. But when it comes to Instagram, eventually this is when I sell my own coaching services. I do business coaching and well-being coaching and mentoring as well. So eventually this is where I put my content and advertise it for maximum exposure. Guys, as I mentioned, if there's anything that I could help you with, feel free to reach me out.